So what I wanted to talk about today is clarifying the difference between a direction along the Earth's surface and the direction name. So here I have in the center, I have Mecca highlighted in the middle. Let's take an example of countries that are north of Mecca. And of course, their Qibla direction would be south, right? Now, if I scroll the globe to the point where I see the North Pole and places in such as Alaska and Yukon, as I mentioned before, the Qibla directions in very, very northerly, and this is kind of like a northwesterly region of North America, they face north. Now, the interesting thing is the direction to Mecca for all the countries in this region here, so like Ukraine, Finland, a little bit of Sweden, Arctic regions, as well as this part of North America, it's all the same. It's this way. That's the direction, right? When you're asked to turn your face to Masjid al-Haram, it's this way. But the way we orient ourselves, the way we perform the task of orienting ourselves in that direction, how do you do it? If you're in Ukraine, or if you're in Finland, or if you're all the way into the Yukon, how do you do that? How do you know to face this way? The way you do that is by using a compass. Now, the compass reference is always to north. The directions are, north. The opposite of north is south. 90 degrees, turning right is east, turning left is west. It's all relative. What I mean to say is, while the direction, I'm scrolling over things and destroying images. While the direction is the same in common, it's this way, how you define it, if you have your compass, will be different because it's relative to the North Pole. For all the regions here, you would define the direction name, the way you name it, the way you define this direction in terms of the directions, the cardinal directions, north, south, east, and west in this region would be south. Same direction, but in this region you define it as south. Flip over to the other side of the North Pole. The way you would orient yourself along this common direction, relative, with reference to that North Pole, would be north. So you'd be facing north, 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 and then once you pass the North Pole, all of a sudden you're going south. The direction name changes because where you are on the Earth's surface relative to the North Pole changes. So the way you orient to properly direct yourself to the Qibla, given that you have a compass, and given that you have the North Pole as a reference, will change. The direction is the same. It's this way. The way you define that direction in terms of, the coordinates of north, south, east, and west will change. Now, the reason why I want to clarify this is because some people have commented that, well, you're facing, northeast here, but then in these regions, you're facing southeast. So I have a previous video from way back where I showed, in North America, you're facing northeast, but when you come closer to Mecca in places such as in Western Europe, you're facing southeast. So the comment is, well, the direction is changing because you're telling me it's northeast in one region and southeast in another. The direction's not changing. Again, if we take this path here from North America, the direction is still the same. It's this way. But the way we define it relative to the North Pole changes. The direction name changes because our location relative to the North Pole is different. But the direction is still the same. Okay? So regions, kind of moving one way, away from the Qibla will all share a common direction, but how you define that relative to the North Pole will change. Now, as a corollary, let's say we insist on the direction name remaining the same. For example, let's say we say, okay, in North America, you face southeast. We look at the Mercator map, a flat map. We show that, to face Mecca has to be in the southeast direction. So if we insist on it being southeast, if we scroll and insist that the path remains southeast, we are going to spiral, and you can see I'm maintaining southeast. We're going to spiral, and we're going to end up hitting somewhere in South Africa. Okay? So on a Mercator map, and a flat map, that line would have gone straight to Mecca. And you say, well, that's great. But when you project it now onto a globe, that path would actually take you, starting from southeast in the North America, would take you to, places like in South Africa, right? Insisting in the direction name being the same takes you away. Insisting that the direction stays the same, which is this way, and allowing the way you reference that direction in different locations relative to the North Pole in terms of the direction name. And when I say direction name, I mean things like northeast, east-north, southeast. Keeping the direction same but changing the direction name will allow people in different regions to maintain that common direction towards the Qibla. One last thing that I want to clarify is the difference between direction and path. Some people have commented, well, why are you talking about, traveling to Mecca, moving to Mecca, the line towards Mecca? We're just talking about a direction. Well, what is a direction? A direction is simply a way that you face such that the thing that you are intending to face is in front of you. That is, there is a line in front of you. That line you don't necessarily have to traverse. So if you're here in North America, you're not walking to Mecca. I understand that. But you're facing in a way where Mecca is in front of you, right? Of course, considering the fact that the globe is a sphere, but it's like under the horizon. It's in the direction that under the horizon it's there. So I've commented on things like path and the straightest path. And why are you talking about path? Because we're talking about direction. Well, the straight path or the straight way towards something is the way that you also face. Okay? So you face northeast because when you face northeast, the way you're facing is aligned such that it's right in front of you. And what does something mean to be right in front of you? Well, on a flat surface, it's right in front of you. It's the shortest distance, right? And on a sphere, it's the shortest distance, considering, the curvature of the Earth. Okay? So facing something, when we face something, for it to be directly in front of us or to be directly facing it, means that we're on the shortest path. And we use that just to define our direction. But, we don't necessarily have to walk towards it or that path doesn't necessarily have to be traversable. Another point is we talk realistically, the paths that we talk about on the globe are curved. So we understand when we face northeast, if I kind of put it this way, we understand, we're facing Mecca or we're facing the region of the horizon below which Mecca would be.